to me in a flash. I had another sermon prepared, but it came to me in a flash a few days ago. A verse, and it's James chapter 1, verse 4. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Let perseverance, those precious moments in your life when you are pressured, let that pressure happen, it's saying. Because when it happens, it makes you mature, helps you grow up. I'll read more of this in a minute, but I like James because he was the first book I taught on television, as a matter of fact. James chapter 1, it's the same text, as a matter of fact. First time I ever was on television, and my wife was asking me, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to fake it till I make it, because nobody knows I haven't been on before. So I just got on and said, welcome to the Word Alive broadcast. Glad you're with me today. And I just started talking. It was great. And I chose James because I'm real familiar with the book. I like it a lot. It's short, it's a short book. And it has some potent, direct comments that really can help you. And, you know, in my single days, I needed honest conversation. And James is the kind of book that takes you there. So when you're on reading, just kind of read it in a modern version. This is going to be from the NIV version, New International Version. And the way that he couches things, the way he says it. Let me start in chapter 1, verse 2. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you fall and you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, and you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. When you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all that they do. Now, I find these 8 verses to be interesting because of the focus on attitude. He's saying you really need to be really appreciative that you have tough times that cause you to persevere. In the Greek, the word basically means to be under pressure, basically, to abide under. And it has a simple but yet profound message. This is good for you. Come on, say, this is good for me. Sometimes pressure is good for you. Scientifically, it's proven that pressure can help you grow, help you change. Sometimes the biggest changes you make is because you are under pressure. It forces you to rethink your position, rethink your approach to a business or life or relationship, your health, all of it, the pressure. And there are moments when it's what you need to mature. It's the process. So I'm going to talk about 2 things, the process of perseverance and the process of maturity. Both of them are important. So here are 2 questions I want you to just think about for a minute. How tough are you under pressure? When pressure comes in your life, how tough are you? Secondly, how well have you matured or developed? Now, what's really hard sometimes is to, I guess, be honest and say, I have not developed the way I should have developed. I'm too touchy. I hold grudges. I feel sorry for myself all the time. I'm always complaining about something. I don't know how emotionally intelligent you are. I love that term. I didn't really run into that until my master's degree, and it's the truth. It was way late in my education, and I really was enthralled by it. I thought, what in the world is that? It basically had to do with me being aware of myself and being aware of how I respond to things emotionally and how I treat the world around me. My level of maturity affects that. How I treat myself and how I treat others. Come on, say it with me. How I treat myself and how I treat others. Because my maturity, and maybe a better word than treat would be view. How I view myself. How I view others. Sometimes you're mad with other people, and it's only because you're immature. That's the only reason you're mad. It has nothing to do with them. It's totally you. And sometimes you have to own that. I'm so upset, I'm so angry because they didn't speak to me, as if that's their responsibility. Everybody doesn't have to speak to you. Everybody doesn't have to even like you. I mean, they can really not like you. It's okay. I told you don't read the book I'm reading. It's called Let Them by Mel Robbins. I told you don't read it, but it's an interesting book. Okay. She said, I love this part. She said, give people permission to have a bad thought about you. It's okay. You don't like my preaching? Sometimes I don't like it either. So you don't like the way I look? Okay, maybe I don't like the way you look. One of the comments I made to a person, probably was a little bit flippant. They came to me and he said, hey, you look better on TV. I said, you do too. You do too. Come on me like that. I don't know you. What'd you say to me? Tell me about myself. Don't do it. I might tell you about yourself. You know, I mean, I don't know how you take that. I'm sorry. But I think it's immature for you to come up to me and say that. I don't think that you've thought that through. And sometimes you need somebody to help you see that's not the way to approach people. And there are moments when you just have to ask yourself. You know, I love this other lead, and this is off topic a little bit. Pastor, what are you doing? What are you doing today? That means you want to do something. Let's start with that. Now, what am I doing today? Here's another one. Do you have any money? Why would you ask me that question? You know, there are moments where people lead with things that say, I haven't thought about this. I'm in an immature place and don't know it. You go to somebody and you demand that they spend something, buy something, that they come see you, that they call you. Here's another one. This is good for me. That they call me back. Call me back? That's nice, but you're not obligated to. You can say, you can block my number. Please don't, but you could. I have to be mature enough, and this is something I've had to learn. There are things in my life, there are ways that I think when I realize I must not have developed in this area. I haven't learned how to fail. I haven't learned how to be rejected. So you want to date somebody, and they don't want to date you. Okay, so what should we do? Cry over that or be thankful? I say be thankful. Why would you want somebody in your life that doesn't want you in their life? Can I get an amen, somebody, right? And as a person grows, you develop and you mature. You're wailing over a relationship that didn't work. You're wailing over a job that you didn't. Why would you want to be there? Amen. They don't love you. They don't care. It's not that they don't love you. Maybe it's not. That's not fair. See, that's not even fair. You don't fit what they want, and that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to not like something or like the way someone spoke to you or whatever. And there are moments in this sermon when these processes will be helpful to you. So what I want to do is start with what I call process pressures I faced in my single years as a single person. And I went back in my mind, and here's some things that I faced. The pressure, first of all, to always be in a relationship. That was one of my pressures. I felt like that I was defined by that I had to always be in a relationship. That it was, you got to find, if you don't have somebody, you got to find somebody. You got to go on the hunt. You got to always, that was top of mind. And I was taught that. I was taught that you were defined by who you dated and who you're with. I remember this friend, I tell a story, we're playing basketball in the gym, and I used to go to the gym every Sunday, all the time. I didn't go to church, and it's coming up as a kid. And we played basketball every day, all day, as much as we could. And one of my friends, he had a beautiful girlfriend. She was a cheerleader, and she was in high school. Man, she was just, I was in middle school, but he was in high school. But I used to go to the high school gym to play with the good players, the guys could really play. And so I remember they were in the middle of the game. I was on the sidelines watching him, and he was the first guy I ever saw do the dribble between the legs. First time I ever saw a guy do that, and then back up and shoot. Oh, it was powerful. I thought, oh, what was that? That was some shot. I'd never seen the move before. It's new, right? So he did this move, and then he paused the game. Now, we got a full court game, right? He pauses the game. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Goes to the sideline and kisses his girl. I said, oh, now that's what I'm talking about. Right there in the middle of the game, the brothers, I got to do that when I got to do that when I grow up. Because it was something about not just his ability to play the game, he was in a relationship. A relationship. Now, fast forward, it looked one way, but it was another. If I could just tell the other side of that dark story. In reality, that same young lady that he kissed was a young lady that I saw maybe 6 months down the road or maybe a year down the road. And she came by, and she was at his house. We lived across from each other in this fourplex. And I walked in his house, and I won't say their names, but I remember I walked in the house, and I saw her, and she's beautiful. I thought, oh my God, this is his girlfriend. I get to see her up close, right? And so somehow I started talking about Jesus to them. I was saved, and I was sharing something, and she asked them for my number, and she called me. And she asked me, she said, I've never heard anybody talk about God like you did today. I mean, I'm a teenager, right? And so we talked a little bit. The next time I heard, she killed herself. True story. And she left a note and said, I was sad. So I took the pills. And in that moment, I remember her name. I won't say it. I remember her name. I remember the story. And I remember thinking to myself, what I saw on the basketball court that day was not all there was to see. Sometimes I need more than a relationship. And sometimes that's what I think we miss. We miss this whole idea of what it means to just be a whole person. So that was one of my pressures. And second pressure I had, the pressure to know my life destination. The pressure to know where I'm supposed to be. Somehow I'm supposed to know what career I'm in, how I'm going to make money, and how I'm going to put it all together. There's a lot of pressure to know your life destination. A lot of college students go through this. A lot of people, when they graduate from college, go through this. On the way to college, they go through. On the way out of high school, the various seasons of your life, there's this pressure. Believe it or not, when you get to retirement age, God, it's amazing. You're 66 and you go, what am I going to do? When I'm not the pastor, what am I going to do? Well, hopefully you won't get caught up in that immature zone and just live under this pressure. It's okay not to know. Come on, say it. Come on. It's okay not to know. It's okay not to know. It's just not okay not to live. See, it's okay not to know everything. Thirdly, I had the pressure to achieve my goals quickly when I was single. I felt like I got to get there like really fast. Like, some of you, oh God, I'm slow. I'm behind. I got to catch up. And you live under this pressure. You should have been rich by now. Some of you really thought that you'd be rich, and you're not. Look at your checkbook. You're not there. And there's this pressure to feel as if I should have been married, or I should have had kids, or I should have. And you live with this constant pressure. Fourthly, I had the pressure to get from under the pressure. So I had the pressure to get there quickly. Then when I was under the pressure, I had the pressure to get from under the pressure. So I'm getting a double whammo. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I shouldn't be like this. Okay, I gotta get free. And if you're in church, where they teach you to pretend you're okay a lot of times, and you have these little catchphrases, how are you? I'm blessed. No, you're not. You feel awful. You feel defeated. And so there's that pressure. And then there's the pressure to, and I guess I could add to that, the pressure to pretend, to act, to perform. And then number 5, the pressure to quickly resolve all my failures. I mean, all my sins should be like, if I've got a weakness, I should get over it right now. If you're smoking, or let's say smoking is your thing, and you know it's not good for you, you're struggling because you know you're drinking too much. You know those things in your life, and there's pressure, and you just live under that constant pressure. And I don't know, when I faced all those things throughout my life as a single person, I didn't always know how to respond to it. But I realized that I couldn't rush the process. Remember, the topic of the message is you don't want to rush God. It's a mistake. I need to work through those, and it may take 6 months through each one. I may take a year. I may take 2 years, but I can't rush the process. For me, I have to come to God and say, okay, God, whatever it takes. And the Lord looks at you and says, okay, because of the way you think, this is a 6-month process. Because of the way you think, it's going to be a year. And it may take somebody else 6 months, but it's going to take you 2 years. Some of you have been coming out of something for a while. Can I get an amen, somebody, right? You've been coming out of it. And I'm not celebrating the pace. I'm simply saying that's your reality. And so, as a single person, I spent a lot of time, and I'll talk about this in a minute, comparing myself to other people. And I just need to stop doing that. I had to back up the train a little bit and admit that, okay, this is my life and my pace. I need to grow. I need to learn. but I need to understand that God is guiding me. And so on the way to where I think I need to be, I'm frustrated with God because I'm trying to rush him to rush the process. And he says, I can't rush this process with you. This is going to take a while. This is going to take a few minutes. It's going to take a few years. There are things it took me several years to get past. Several habits it took me a while to learn. So let me give you a process pressure I faced as again in my single years. Number one, come on, say relationships. My life destination. My goals. Listen now. And the way people viewed me. Come on, say that with me. The way people viewed me. Those are my issues. Once I looked back and saw that, I thought also about my maturity issues I faced. I had a lot of issues with friends. Now, I was a friendly person, but I had seasons when I struggled with friends. I felt that they should be there for me. I've always been a really social person, but there are times in my life, and there are times single people feel that way, especially because you think there are not enough friends, or you think your friends aren't there when you really need them. I don't know that we are honest with ourselves. As our life changes, our friendship dynamics will change. And I have to understand there are seasons when I must persevere and be mature through seasons when nobody's present. It's okay for me to be with me. Sometimes what I think I need, I really don't need. I think I need a lot of people in my life, and sometimes I don't need a lot of people in my life. Sometimes I think single people feel as if they're cursed because they don't, quote, have a relationship, or they're cursed because they don't have a bunch of people running in and out of their house, and that's not true. I think sometimes God says, no, I need you to understand, first of all, the nature of friendship, that people can't be with you all the time. People have to live their own lives, and you have to live your life, and you have to learn how to be with you and happy with you. And allow yourself to enjoy those moments when you interact with friends, moments when we get together, but that's going to be seasonal. It's not like it was pointed out to me in this book I just mentioned, that there are times when you are in middle school and high school in those earlier years when you're on the same schedule and people are with you all the way through. You have classes together, in college even you have classes together. But once you get to certain stages of life, that's no longer true. You don't have classes together. You have people you work with, but sometimes you have different assignments. My point is, there are moments when your life is what she calls scattered. Your life is everywhere. It's not easy for my pastor friends to be with me all the time. Why? Because they have churches, because they have schedules, because they're busy. Their life is not about waiting for me to call. Then they can't come and see me. I may want to see them, but it may take me 6 months or 3 months to get to you. It's not always easy. And so I don't need to have this friend issue hanging over my head. I need to learn to love me. Come on, say amen. You hear me? And reach for friends. And make a point, make an effort. Sometimes you're complaining as a single person about something, but you're not making any effort to build friendships. You're waiting for somebody. It's like somebody sitting at the bus stop and the bus doesn't even run that day. You're just sitting there by yourself hoping a bus shows up. Nobody's going to come. If you're not a person who reaches, and I'm big on that. I make a point of that. I've always strived to reach and build friends. But it was funny. As friendly as I am, as many phone numbers as I have, there are moments when I still feel, even from my single life to my married life, I feel alone. And that's okay. Lift your hand. Come on, say, that's okay. Come on. It's okay. It's okay. I find I had seasons when I struggled with friend issues. I had seasons when I struggled with academic issues. I just told somebody a story that I thought kind of rained down on me, and it was this incredible. Your home is raining here right now. It just started raining. If you're watching, but there's this season when I wasn't academically above average. I was always about a C student, maybe. I remember one time I spoke at a college, my alma mater, as a matter of fact, and one of my professors was sitting on the stage, and she said something I overheard her say. And she didn't know I heard her, but I spoke and I sat down next to her, and she said, "My God, it's amazing what a C student can do." And I thought, "What'd you say?" She said, "Nothing." She would never say it. But I remember feeling like I wasn't academically sharp. My problem wasn't that I wasn't sharp. My problem was I wasn't disciplined. I'll talk about that in a minute. There are certain things, and then there are just certain things I could only learn at that level. But there were guys who made A's. They used to grade us on a curve in some classes where, the highest grade was the A, and then they count down from there. And so there were guys who would hang that curve at 99 and 98. I used to hate those guys. And they'd always hang it up really high. Anybody know about grading on a curve? You understand that? Right? It's whoever was the highest grade. If it was a 70, that was the A. And then they counted down from there. But anyway, there are guys who would hang that curve up there. And I'm telling you the truth, they're all great guys. But none of them achieved certain levels of success. But I had academic issues. I had academic insecurity. I felt like I didn't have enough degrees. I felt like I didn't have enough of whatever. And there are moments when I saw my academic weaknesses. One of the things about doing what I do now is I'm always reviewed for grammar, for spelling. It's always. Writing a book is torturous because writing a book is all about editing and rewriting and re-editing, and that's wrong and wrong verb and pronouns. All of that stuff, don't say it that way. And so you struggle. I've had academic struggles. I've failed a class. Breathe, take a breath. Ready? I failed a class because I didn't read a book. Can you believe that? Why didn't I read the book? Because I was so holy and saved. I was going to church all the time. And I just didn't do the assignment. So I failed the class. And it was the best thing ever happened to me. One of my favorite teachers of all time, whom I love and appreciate today. She helped me. Tempo, come on now. Do your work. So I've had academic issues. I've had moments when I learned from that. Thirdly, I've had admiration issues. When I admired what somebody else had more than me, especially in my single years, I struggled with this whole idea of admiring people. Admiring people. Always focused on what they have and what I didn't have, comparing myself. We did it all the time. And then I had what I call staying focused issues. I struggled staying on task. One of the great areas to see this is in physical fitness and exercise. I'm pretty consistent overall, but I'm not and I'm still working on it. There's this tendency to just be kind of in it, but not all the way in it. And if you're not careful, in your life as a single person, you won't stay focused. Focused. This is my priority. Now, what helped me do a better job in my persevering press, living under pressure, what helped me live under pressure better, what helped me mature was, number one, being around tough, mature people who modeled it. There's something about getting around people that help you see it. Your environment will help you change everything. If you really want to be a reader, get around people who read. You want to be a person who manages your money well, get around people who manage your money. Find people and bring them into your life who are spiritual, who pray. Praying people will inspire you to pray. If you're around people who don't feel sorry for themselves, who are not whining and complaining, they'll stop you. Stop all that whining, stop all that complaining, stop you. That's what you need. You need to be around strong people. My friends are fairly positive. I can't whine to them. They just will shut that down real quick. I'll stop that, Temple. You can do that. I was talking about building something one time, and it's just a couple of $3 million. Don't worry about that. It's nothing. Those are the kind of friends you need. Because you know they're not going to feel sorry for you. Oh, you worked hard? It's okay. We all work hard, Temple. That's part of it. There's something about shopping with those people. When you go to stores, I remember I had friends I go shopping with, and I go to the sale rack first, and they would like, what you wearing, man? What's that? What you doing? They inspired me to up my game. There's something about being around people. Secondly, what helped me do a better job persevering and being mature is I decided for myself that I wanted a better life outcome. Nothing in your life will ever change if you don't make the decision. I wish I had the power sometimes to get people to where I think they could get in life. I wish I could move them to that place. But I can't move them without their decision. I can't help you get there. It's not until you decide that you want to be a neat person. It's not until you decide to get out of your bed every time and make it up. I can't make you do that. You see your bed in your mind? Good. See, that's you decided, you made the decision. This is how I live. That's why stuff's all over the floor, because you've decided this is how I live. This is the decision. You know, when you go on a cruise boat, it's really fascinating because you walk past rooms that the doors are open. It's horrifying. It's horrifying. I thought, oh my God, somebody's really in there. It's just, and you see the people who clean the room swim through the clothes and swim through stuff, and the suitcases are open. It's just, it's horrible. And I'm thinking, and they go in the restroom, and it's the toothpaste and everything is this everywhere, and they're going, this is how I live, because you made a decision. Where I am, I decided to be here. You might not want to say that, but it's probably true. It's probably looking in the mirror and saying, I made this decision. I made this decision. What decisions have you made? My life did not change in certain areas until I made a decision. And right now, today, I'm making new decisions. Because I realize it's up to me. If I'm a pound or two above what I want to be, or 2 or 3 pounds above, it's on me. I need to make a decision in my life about what I want. Thirdly, you ready? I need to, number 1, be around the right people, decide for myself. And then number 3, separate myself. There's nothing in my life will ever change if I keep hanging around people that are immature. If I keep drowning myself in the same environment. There's something about saying, I don't want to be a guy who is unfaithful to his wife, so I don't hang with guys who are. I have a very strong rule about my friends. I say, okay, hey, if you're living on 2 sides of the river, we can't hang out because I don't want to live on 2 sides of the river. That's just me. And I'm not putting you down. I'm not saying I'm better than you. I'm just simply saying that's not my dream for myself. Number 4, repenting and being honest about it. Repenting is saying I'm honestly going to admit that this is where I am, this is my struggle, and this is what I need to do. And there's something about telling God, I get it. Telling God, I get it. You're right, Father. I have been going in the wrong direction. Now, if I go back and I'm really honest, I could close with this honest testimony. Ricky Temple without Christ would have been sexually active. Ricky Temple without Christ would be living with somebody and not married to them. Ricky Temple without Christ would be, I'm not violent, but I do fight. Honestly, I would fight. I'm not just going to be running, you know. If it's the last day, it's the last day. I'm serious. I'm that person in my head. I'm kind of like that. I'm not a criminal person. So I'm not going to do any crime. And believe it or not, before I was even saved, I would not cheat. I'm not a cheating person. So I always told Diane, if I don't want you, I just tell you. I did. I always told her. I said, you ain't never going to catch me. Because I'm an announcer to the church. I ain't going to never see no videos, nothing. I'm just going to tell you, tomorrow I'm going to be a fool. I'm resigning. I'm going to be a fool tomorrow. So I'm going to tell y'all in advance, I've decided to be a fool. Full time. I ain't going coach. I'm going first class. So you know, if I'm going to drink it all. You know what I'm saying? But I made up my mind that I'd rather be able to look in the mirror and be truthful than to be a hypocrite. So I understand what Ricky Temple outside of Christ. That's why, for me, being married, having children, all that is an amazing story for me because I know that I was not oriented that way coming up. And that wasn't, my mom didn't orient me in some bad way. It just wasn't how I was oriented. And I think sometimes in life, wherever you are, single or married, wherever you are, but we're talking to single people today, embrace the truth about you and then make a mature decision. And then decide, listen, I don't like the image of the picture I see, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be willing to persevere and let perseverance have its perfecting work. I'm going to live under the pressure of change. I'm going to live under the pressure. I did that academically. I'm going to live under the pressure because I want to be a better student. I want better grades. I want to be all A's. And I made that decision. And so I got under the pressure and I persevered. And before I knew it, I was academically on the A roll. 4.0. That took me all through my master's and through my doctoral programs. I was 4.0, no B's all the way through. And that was because but I had to get under the pressure. You see, perseverance made me tougher. Maturity, same thing. I had to decide, listen, that's immature. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to think that way. I'm not going to sit here in this thought. I'm going to become more emotionally intelligent, and I want to be mature. This job has a lot of areas where it bothers you. Getting in front of people, dealing with the resources, the management, all the things that come with it. And you just have to decide, okay, listen, this is where I am in my life. Let me be mature here. Let me not be a whiny, wimpy person. And if you're not careful in your life, and I want to say this lovingly as I close, and a single person is tempted to feel as if you're somehow less than and not as far along as Jesus was single, Paul was single. Can I keep going? I mean, the Bible is full of people who never married. Elijah, Elisha, none of these guys. It's this idea. I love marriage. I'm glad to be married. But it's not the panacea that's promised, at least if you think it's for everybody and for you at this season of your life. I believe very strongly that God calls me to where I am. And where I am, I need to embrace and put my arms around it. And I'm going to do a series on this next month called, I think it's called, month after next, it's called Embracing in April. Embracing yourself, embracing your life, embracing who you are. There's something about putting your arms around your life. Won't you stand with me, please, for a minute? Put your arms around your life. Putting your arms around yourself. You're sitting in something that's not pleasant. You feel like you're under pressure, right? But God's saying, sit there and grow up. Change your view of what you're doing. Stop looking at what everybody else has and where they live, what they drive, and what they have the ability to do, and just decide you want to change your life. You want to change how you do things. Change your view. Stop looking for a relationship. If you come into a relationship, if it works out, if a door opens, look at me for a minute. Don't fake it. If you want a relationship, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But to define yourself by a relationship makes a relationship difficult. Because now you put all that pressure on a person to fulfill you. You ready? I love my wife. She is the best decision after Jesus. I'm not just saying that. I made two great decisions in my life. One was to serve Christ. The second one was to marry Diane. It's true. But she doesn't define or fulfill my life. That's too much pressure on her. If that makes sense to you. Because by and large, most people don't get married till they're 28-ish. They're about in this culture. Most women outlive their spouses by 10, 15 years. You're going to be single 35 years, period, of your life. You have to learn that it's not always about being in a love relationship. I was in an Uber the other day, and this lady, I said, how are you? She said, great. She said, so how's your life? She said, oh, my life's not good. I'm not in a relationship. That's what she told me. I said, you're not in a relationship? No, I'm not in a relationship. She said, I'm better when I'm in a relationship. I said, well, then I made this mistake. I said, you know what Paul said, it's better to be single. You know what she said? He crazy. That's exactly what she said. He is crazy, whoever Paul is. I said, she said, I mean, Paul in the Bible, I'm not real religious. But he's still crazy. I said, what if you don't have a relationship? I'm not, see, I don't want to be that way. Nice person, but I don't want my life, because no one can stay with me forever. I do too many funerals. You have to come to this place in your life where you put your arms around your life and you don't rush God into things and try to push God into giving you what you don't need. And but I think you have to live in such a way where you say, Father, I'm going to live with an open mind, open heart. If I find somebody, that's fine. But until then, I will embrace myself. Can you embrace yourself? Can you embrace yourself? Father, we leave today believing that you have spoken our hearts and our minds. We're not going to rush you into something. That's not wise. We're going to love ourselves, love each other, be mature, sit in the perseverance season when we got to persevere under the pressure. We embrace the pressure. We will grow through this season and we'll become wiser. And we give you all the praise and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.